I just want to tell you one more thing. For transition elements, they have variable valence. So in order to indicate the type of charge on those particular elements and those particular compounds, you have to use Roman numerals. And you will see examples of that as we move along. Okay, let's see, where are we? Okay, so on this periodic table, oh, I know what I was going to say. There's nothing on this periodic table, but this is a good, it's just the shape of a periodic table. To recognize that these are the noble gases, they have 8 valence electrons, all right? So they're not going to tend to form cations, anions, or bonds at all. Some of the other thing I wanted to tell you is there are 2 transition metals. Silver is found right here and zinc is found right here that do not have variable valence. We can predict the type of ions they're going to form, and these you just have to memorize that silver tends to form an ion with a +1 charge, zinc tends to form an ion with a +2 charge, okay? All the other metals from group 1s, 2, and 3, you can predict. The rest of the transition metals, we'll have to use a Roman numeral to decide. And as you work through your worksheets, this will become more clear. Okay? Okay. Let's see. All right, one more thing here. All right, so when we name our ionic compounds, we name the metal using the metal name. We name the non-metal using the non-metal elemental name plus the IDE suffix. And then also we do have some ionic compounds that are formed with what we call polyatomic mini-atom molecules that have a charge. So they're polyatomic ions. All right, and these are some more common polyatomic ions that you should be familiar with. All right, and what's listed is the chemical formula, the charge, and the name. For example, nitrate, NO3, the nitrogen is chemically combined to the 3 oxygens, and the whole cluster, the whole group of atoms carries a -1 charge. You just have to remember the name. I'll give you a hint, though. The polyatomic ions oftentimes end in ITE or ATE for the endings. Normally, the IDE ending is associated with an element like chloride, fluoride, bromide, whereas bromate is a polyatomic anion. It's kind of obscure, so you don't have to memorize it. But chlorate, for example, is a polyatomic that's more common. But anyway, so the IDE normally is going to indicate that it's just a single elemental anion, like nitride, as opposed to nitrate or nitrite. There are a couple exceptions. Cyanide, hydroxide, and peroxide all also have an IDE ending. So you'll just want to kind of get this organized in your brain, because a very common mistake is people will confuse, like, for example, the nitride ion with the nitrite ion.